Hello, my name is Cole Pixley, and I'm excited to bring you this video today for my individual video project for my mobile device security and forensics class with Brian Hill at Metropolitan State University. I will be bringing you on a quick tour of drones and forensic data that can be acquired from drones. Due to the nature of content discussed in this video, and in this class, this video is solely for educational use and as a demonstration of my research. I cannot be liable for any damages caused by performing any of the demonstrations contained in this video. Drones have grown increasingly popular in both the consumer market and the enterprise environment. We need to know as forensic examiners what data is contained on these devices and how we can get data off these devices, because the likelihood that we're going to encounter a drone in a forensic investigation is going to only increase as time goes on and these devices become cheaper and more popular. Before we can look at any data though, we need to head outside and go do some test flights so we can get some data that we can come back to the lab and process. So today I have the DJI Mavic 2 Pro drone to show you. It's a pretty awesome drone, flies at a maximum 45 miles per hour at a maximum range from the operator of about 5 miles. And it's got sensors all over the drone so it can detect obstacles. And then it also has a GPS built in to aid the operator when navigating the aircraft. On the front of the drone, it has a 4K camera, which is pretty cool. So that's the drone itself. It has a flight time of maximum 31 minutes, but that's pretty optimistic because that's with no wind, and there's always wind. And then the other unit is the controller. It's a handheld device that you can put your mobile phone in. And there's an app that you use to help see the live feed from the drone when it's up in the air, and you're able to control it with this. Besides just the controller, there is some autonomous features as well that you can program into the drone. So we're going to take it out for a fly and get some test data here. So we've got the drone hovering right now, and so we'll go fly it around. So now that we're back inside, we have several things that we need to think about here. Like I mentioned, we have the drone itself, but we also have the mobile device that's connected to the controller. If I wasn't clear, the mobile device, the phone or tablet or whatever that you connect to the controller, has to be attached in order for the drone to fly. One thing I also need to mention is that there is a cloud portion of DJI drone data. So there's 3 places to look for a drone forensic investigation. On the drone itself, it has onboard storage. This particular drone has 8 gigabytes of onboard storage to store video and photos. you can expand that amount of storage with a micro SD card. I currently have a 64 gigabyte micro SD card installed in this drone, and that's the default location for the footage to go to, because these videos can be quite large and will take up space quite quickly. Besides those two partitions, there is a smaller partition inaccessible to the user, and the file system is stored there. Using proper forensics tools, we can get file system and physical extractions of that data, which I will show you. You're mainly going to find photos and videos on the onboard 8 gigabyte partition and the SD card. However, the encrypted or plain text black box flight data logs are on the file system, and that's one of the most important parts about the whole drone forensic acquisition. The mobile device contains a cache of the photos or videos, and I believe that they are the same quality as the one stored on the drone. However, the farther you get away when you're flying, they might reduce quality, but it's the same video file. And if this setting is enabled, which by default I do not believe it's enabled, it will also record audio from the mobile phone itself. So you'll be able to hear the person who is controlling the drone and anyone around them talking while the drone is out flying. It'll be a video of the drone footage paired with the audio from the mobile device. And then if I press this button,
go home.
Is he going home to Jared, or is he going home to where you were standing?
Going home to where I was standing. Also on the mobile device is plain text black box flight logs. They are not encrypted on the DJI Go 4 app as of this time. You can also acquire cloud account information from the DJI phone app through a forensic software. Which brings us to the DJI Cloud, which has account flying statistics, photos, and plain text black box flight logs that you can get. They're the exact same ones that you can get off the mobile device. Well, actually, the mobile device has two. One is a text file, and one is a DAT file. The DJI Cloud only contains the text files. The text files have most of the important information, but not all of the information, which we will get to. First of all, this is a Celebrate reader software, which is showing a Mavic Pro file system and physical extraction. I was able to get a physical and file system extraction last summer with a Celebrate unit I had access to at the time. And Oxygen Forensics also is able to get supposedly a full physical of the drone, which should have this exact same information. However, I was not able to get a extraction for this video, but it should be possible if you were to work with the developers of Oxygen and figure out why it's not working. In the physical is going to pull from the 8 gigabyte partition I was talking about, and it has the DCIM, which is the photo and video location. These are some deleted ones, and it will show you any videos and stuff that is on here. The cool one is the file system, where you get the entire file system, any data that is making the device operate. Most of this stuff is gibberish to me, but if you really went through it, maybe there's some useful information. However, the black box folder is the most important folder in the file system, and we want to look at the the DJI flight folder. This one has the full DAT files, and unfortunately on this particular drone these are all encrypted. Found this that on the Mavic Air, Mavic 2, and Mavic Mini, the DAT file is encrypted on the drone itself. However, the mobile device and the cloud file is not encrypted. If you were able to get a full physical for an older drone, such as the Phantom 3 series or Phantom 4 and the Inspire, those DAT files should not be encrypted and you should be able to process them. By themselves, they are not able to be viewed, but you will need to have some sort of application that can process these files. To process my DAT files, I used a program called CSView. It's from this particular website. To get to the phone files, this is how you do it on iPhone to get the flight records, and on Android you can go here to see the flight records. Once you get these files, then you have to import it into the software. So I already have CSView downloaded, and I have over here, I've already pulled some out, but if we go into the DJI Go V4 folder, this would be from the mobile device. In the flight records, we have the text files, and then we also have the MC-DAT flight records. And these are the ones that contain the most information. These contain some information, but you still get a lot of relevant information in these text files. So if we pull the DAT file into CSV view, which is this one right here. Oh. Now that it's loaded up, it tells you a whole bunch of information. Just in the application itself, if you click on GeoPlayer, you are able to see the GPS and any coordinates from the device itself. So on my particular test route that I did, I flew down to this marsh area, and then I flew back and then came home. So you can see it quickly without even doing any more information simply within this app. Now, if you file and export as CSV, and it's not showing up here. There we go. Export as CSV, you can open it up in Excel and do some Excel magic. So I've already got some information here that I pulled out. So I took the DAT file and opened it up in Excel. And this is, let me just get rid of this. This is what the file looks like when you open it up. It has all of this information. Tons and tons and tons of columns. And the DAT file is shown with, actually this is a text file. This is a text file, and it shows the current time, and it looks like it's pulling about 6 times or 5 times every second. On the 6th time it changes over, and it has the latitude and longitude in here. And if you calculate the latitude, longitude, and height on a map, you can get a cool graphical representation of the path that the drone took. So that same data we just saw represented at a 2D, I can now get at a 3D map inside of Excel. And we can actually play it back with the, this is at a much shorter time, but that is approximately the entire route I took. What's also interesting is that not only does the cloud and mobile device store the drone location, it also stores the controller location during flight. These blue squares down here are the coordinates of the controller, me, as I'm carrying around my controller flying the drone. So you also get the coordinates for whoever is operating the drone at the time that you also have the drone coordinates. And this is very valuable information. You need to know where the person who was flying it was at the time that the drone was somewhere. So you can do all this by bringing it into Excel or some other application. So if you pull the DAT file, so this is the text file. If you put the DAT file into CSV view and export it out as a CSV file, which is what I have here. I've taken the phone CSV file and converted it to Excel to save my information because you can't save this back into a CSV file. The CSV file created from a text is only 6.6 megabytes, but the CSV file from the DAT file itself is 63.7 megabytes. Before we move on to the cloud extraction, let's take a look at a couple other things that you can find in the mobile device extraction for the DJI files. We were previously looking in the flight records spot where we could find the text files and the DAT files. Again, the text files are here, and then the DAT files are in here. Now, if we go to the DJI record folder, and here we have the cached video and audio from each flight. So the most recent one was right here.
No, you can't get near it.
Why?
And it has the video and audio from the drone and the mobile device that was connected operating at the time. So you can, if for whatever reason the drone crashed, you still have some of the footage that's stored on the phone. The farther away you get, there'll be some artifacts in these videos, and they're not as high quality as the ones that you get from the drone itself. Next to each of these video files is a .info file. This is just a standard text file that you can open up, and it will show you some information about it, like the capture date, local file time, but it also has the latitude and longitude strings for the position of the drone when it started recording video. So that's an interesting piece of information. Another thing to find is that there is a waypoint folder here. On Android, it does not appear that we're able to access this from within the mobile device itself. If you were to get an extraction, you may be able to get this file, but my phone is a Google Pixel and I'm not able to get an extraction of it right now. If you were on an iOS device, you'd be able to find the waypoints.db file, and it appears that any waypoints stored inside the app will show up in this database file, which may include latitude, longitude, and other information. But it does not look like we can access that in the Android simply by exporting the DJI Go folder. Now let's look at oxygen forensics and see how the cloud extraction would look if you were to have the mobile device and got credentials, or you just had the credentials and used oxygen to do an extraction. All right, once we got oxygen open, we can go to Oxygen Forensic Cloud Extractor. And once this opens up, I already have the username and password for the DJI Cloud account I'm going to get an extraction on. You would also be able to get this from a mobile device extraction. I'm just going to put that in. You may want to fill this out. Right here we got DJI Cloud. So click here, add credentials. I will be blurring this out so you won't get to see that part, but now we've got the credential imported. Hit next, and we've got a green check mark, which means we're validated. Once we hit next, it's going to start pulling all of the information from this cloud account to my computer. I guess there's one more. We'll get flight logs from this plus some other information. And now we can see all the information being pulled to my computer. And we'll actually be able to see each of the flight logs as they're coming through. And we've got all of them so far. So it's all done. I hit next. And now we're going to open it in Oxygen Forensic Detective and start looking at it. All right, so we're in Oxygen Detective right now. And this is after we've done that extraction. We've got our cloud backup imported right here. You notice right away that we have a section for accounts and passwords. This is the account that you already used. But what we really want is the DJI Cloud application right here. You can see that Oxygen has already parsed out all this information for us. If we open this up, we can see the owner of the drone right here. I may blur this out because it's not me. I'm borrowing this drone. And then we have all the flight logs that have been synced to the cloud. One thing I noted that was after I did my test flights on the 16th, I went and did this cloud extraction, and I did not get the ones from the 16th. So I don't know how long it takes for it to sync, but I forced the sync on the phone itself by refreshing my account page, and it uploaded all the information sort of without me knowing it. And then we get all these points of interest. And if we take this and we plot it on maps, wait for it to load, we should see the exact same route. Looks like this is a different one. Must be this one. Oh, the 843 is in UTC time, I believe. So let's plot this one. So the first test run I did was in red. The second one, which we were just looking at in Excel, is in this blue. And you can see all the points that it has calculated. Besides the coordinates and other GPS data, there is a SQL database in this somewhere. Underneath files, we have, if they have an account picture, I believe it'll show up here. Here are all the text files that we saw previously. These have already been parsed out by Oxygen, but if you need the raw file, it's right here. Here's a couple of photos that it's pulled from the cloud of various drone flights. And then the main DB3 is a SQLite database that has account information, but also drones info. And this particular table has all of the statistics that show up in the DJI app. So we have total fly time, total fly distance, max vertical speed, max fly time, max fly distance. You know, max fly distance would be the most distance you've flown in one particular flight, and then different information that stacks over time. And you'd be able to figure out sort of what these means. DJI typically does their measurements in metric. So as you can see, there's lots of data that you can get from a drone, but you want to get more than just the drone. When you're when you are doing extraction or you are doing a search warrant and you're actually acquiring the device itself, the physical device, you want to make sure you get the drone, the phone or tablet or computer used to pilot the drone, and then see if you can get the cloud credentials as well if it's information that's important for a case. It's also important to get the batteries and the battery packs for the drone. Where's the battery? Oh, there. Here's one of the batteries for the drone, and make sure you grab the charger, just like any other computer, but especially important on these because these batteries and the charger are quite expensive, and if you can avoid paying those costs for investigation, that would be helpful. To actually do the extraction on the drone, it has a USB-C port on the side that you can plug into your forensic workstation. And then on the bottom, one of the covers contains an SD card, micro SD card slot, where you can pull the actual photos, videos, anything else that's saved on there. So your best bet would be to do a physical extraction on the SD card before you do an extraction on the drone. When you do an extraction on the drone, you have to power it on, so data could change as soon as you power on the drone. When you press the button on the top of the drone once, it will show you the battery percentage. Right here it's showing 25%. And when you press it once and then press it again and hold, it will turn on the drone. The drone will make some whirring noises and do a self-test before it's all ready to go. So thank you for following me through this drone forensics tour today. It's important as a forensic examiner to know where to find information and what to find on a drone extraction. Now that we know that DJI is encrypting their DAT files on the drone itself, it becomes more and more important to get that mobile device or get those cloud credentials, and hopefully DJI will not be encrypting those in the future so that we can still use that information to help us out in a forensic investigation. That's all I have for this video. Thank you for flying with us, and we'll see you on our next flight.